Hello, movie lovers. Welcome back to SignaMovie channel. Today is all about fresh cinema experiences, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on the newest film making its mark. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the recap of this exciting cinematic adventure. The film begins with Durotan, the chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, and his pregnant wife, Draka, lying down and discussing the name of their future son. Durotan is then seen meeting with other Orc clans. They were all summoned by Golden, who is also the leader of the Orcs. He reviews his preparations for battle, accompanied by Garona, a female half-orc who serves as an interpreter to other races. The imprisoned prisoner asks Garona to save her child, but Gul'dan intends to suck all the life out of the prisoner's body in order to strengthen the green death magic called Feel, and tells Gordon that he is going to suck all the life out of the prisoner's body in order to strengthen the green death magic called Fell. He refused, saying that fuel is life. His goal is to provide enough magic to build a portal connecting his world to another world called Azeroth in order to conquer it. But for now, there are only enough prisoners to store up the magic to send out a warband of the most powerful Orc warriors. Their immediate objective is to gather more prisoners from Azeroth in order to supply more powerful magic and permanently open the portal. Durotan, his wife, his lieutenant Orcrim, and his clan enter the portal. Draka feels pain after passing through the portal and gives birth with Golden's help, despite the other Orcs' objections. The baby is dying, but Golden drains the life from a nearby deer and uses demonic magic to revive the baby and announce him to the warband as the newest version of the warrior. On Azeroth, Anduin Loder, one of the king's most trusted warriors, can be seen inspecting the construction of the Iron Forge. He observed a newly invented mechanical weapon called the boomstick. Before they could be thoroughly inspected, a messenger brought a letter to the effect that one of his garrisons had been attacked and that he was needed at once in the king's castle. He went to Stormwind and met a prisoner named Khadgar, but he was unable to cast a spell to attack him. Lothar notices a strange mark on Khadgar's arm called the Shirantor mark. Khadgar explains that he was once a guardian novitiate with a sacred duty to protect the kingdom from all danger. He asked that the bodies of the slain soldiers be examined, as they might contain secrets about the attack. He was surprised when a faded green light appeared from one of the bodies, and suggested he call the guardian himself. Roder warns them that only King Lane Wren can summon the guardians, so they ride to the king's castle. There, Lothar also meets his sister Lady Terrier Wren, who is also the king's wife, and her son Callan. King Lane agrees to call the Watcher after learning of the threat, and assigns Lothar and Khadgar to Karat Sand Solid. After giving the blue ring as a message to Madibu, go to meet the guardian Madibu at the fortress. They are greeted by Malos at Karazhan. He says that the Watcher is glad to see Lothar and leads the Watcher to the Watcher at the top of the tower, while Khadgar looks around the Watcher's library. He notices a mysterious figure appear nearby, but disappears into a bookshelf. As he searches for it, the cure and gate signs shine brightly on the particular book he picks up. However, the guardians suddenly capture him and attack him until he speaks of death, the magic that feeds on life itself. Maddie is then transported directly to King Lane and Stormwind along with Lothar and Khadgar. Residents have reported being attacked by monsters and beasts. Loder tells them they need a prisoner to unearth more information. Even Koa will tell them something, but King Lane replies that he is unaware of the danger they are in. Lothar, Madib, Khadgar, and a small team of soldiers enter Elwyn Forest to scout enemy tracks. They see the trees glowing green and find traces of hellish magic. They are then ambushed by a family of orcs, led by Durotan, resulting in casualties on both sides. Notary reports that orcs are much stronger. So don't try to overpower them. Use smart moves instead. He manages to cut off Blackhand's hand with a walkie fork. Khadgar uses his magical abilities to protect himself and Madiv, while Madiv summons even more powerful magic to drain the orcs of their terrifying magic. Is able to escape because his orcs contain no trace of hellish magic. The humans meet Garona, who also speaks human language, and take her prisoner, telling her that the orcs are planning to conquer her world and need her captors to feed her hellish magic. She says they come through a large green gate powered by waterfalls. The Orcish camp considers it dishonorable for an orc to flee from battle, so Blackhand is tried before Golden, but Durotan prevents him from doing so. He explains that an enemy sorcerer is using hell magic against him, but Golden does not believe this, believing that he is the only one who can control hell magic. Durotan begins to have doubts about the fall. Medivh secretly interrogates Garona in prison. She explains that Gurdon was shown the gate by the devil. Medivh then disappears as others enter her cell. The queen gives Garona her drink and a chance to live freely and sympathizes with Galana. Garona, Lothar, and Khadgar then go into the forest to scout Daemon. At night, around a campfire, they exchange tragic backstories and begin to empathize with each other. Garona explains that green magic requires life, just as fire requires wood. It is planned that all orcs will arrive in Azeroth, following the warbands that have already arrived. As Lothar runs ahead to discuss strategy with King Lane beforehand, Barona and Khadgar unexpectedly encounter Durotan and ask him to deliver a message that he wishes to meet the human chieftain. In Stormwind, King Lane meets with all the other races of Azeroth to discuss the threat, but they are too preoccupied with their own lives to support the attack. Garona conveys Durotan's message to the king. King Lane, surmising that Durotan is truly afraid of falling and that he cannot solve the problem on his own, asks for help. Lothar is against the idea of meeting Durotan, but King Lane is convinced by Garona's portrayal of Durotan, stating that Durotan wants to protect his clan and that Fiel is also his enemy. The queen gives Garona her sword to protect herself and gain her trust. A guard is seen in Khadgar's room destroying all of Khadgar's research on the case and burning everything. He says he doesn't need Khadgar's help, as he will take care of the fur himself. Khadgar managed to hide one of his research papers inside his robe. Not burned by Medivh. The clues say something about a dark portal and a name, Roddy. Despite the opposition of one of Durotan's confidants, Orgrim, Durotan still meets with Lane to unite the Frostwolf clan and humans against the Gold. But suddenly, the group is ambushed by the Black Hand, who call Durotan a traitor. The people retreat and Medivh's help arrives, although it is too late. He forms an impenetrable magical barrier to protect his people from the orc hordes, but Karan and some of his soldiers are separated by the barrier. Lothar witnesses Callan being killed by the Black Hand, but is unable to overcome the barrier to save him. Garona and Khadgar find Medivh unconscious on a cliff and take him to Khalasan for treatment. However, Khadgar notices a green light in Medivh's eyes and suspects that Medivh is somehow involved in hellish magic. Khadgar quickly rushes in from Khalasan, and he says he needs Shirantur's help. Durotan is once again threatened, but he agrees to go along with Golden's plan if Black Hand saves his people. Durotan tells Drakad to go with his son, whom he names Gol. Orgrim speaks to Golden and says that Durotan poisoned the entire Frostwolf clan against green magic. Meanwhile, Khadgar meets with Kirin Thor and they despise him, but allow him to meet with Elodie, the same guardian as the Watcher. Elodie tells Medivh that he is infected by hellish magic and that he cannot control it. Then she disappears. Back in Karashan, Malos helps Medivh recover, but Medivh reveals that he was eaten away by the fall and that Malos is sucking the life from his body. The king ponders his options in the defensive position, but Lothar suggests throwing everything at him in order to close the magical gates and make the king his top priority. Suddenly, Medivh appears and Roder expresses his anger at Medivh for indirectly killing his son. King Lane sends Loder to a cell to calm down. Garona comes to Lothar in his cell and tells him that the king has agreed to attack the gate. Loder told her that he shouldn't trust Maddie, neither he nor anyone else, and that he preferred Garona to stay with him so she wouldn't get hurt, but she refused. She fights King Lane and other troops. Medivh insists that she will join them later as she needs to make some preparations in Khalasan first. Khadgar then arrives in Stormwind and rescues Loder from his cell. Lothar insists on obeying the king, but Khadgar convinces him to stop Medivh in order to protect the safety of the entire Azeroth Empire. Draka takes Gol to a river, where he is swept away and killed like the rest of the Frostwolf clan. Durotan challenges Golden to a deadly duel for the traditions of Malkara and the leadership of the Orcs, and Golden accepts. A magical portal then opens with Medivh's help. Medivh is gradually turning into a demon. Golden sees the portal and wants to complete his challenge immediately, but Blackhand urges him to respect tradition and continues the fight. He then deceives Durotan by taking his life, causing the wrath of the other orcs. After Durotan and several rebellious orcs are killed, Golden gathers his fighters to counterattacks from King Lane and the humans. A big fight breaks out between them. Loder and Khadgar arrive at Mr. Karat's and witness Medivh casting a spell that opens a portal and brings more orcs to Azeroth. The golem Medivh created also comes to life and attacks Roder. So Loder comes up with the idea of cutting off his head. After defeating the golem, Khadgar tells him to distract Medivh from casting the spell that will keep the portal open. Roder then calls out to Medivh, believing that his good self is still within the demonic entity. Just as Medivh is about to attack Noder again, Khadgar's spell causes a headless golem to fall on him. Khadgar attacks the demon directly to avoid being consumed by the demon's magic. Loder assures him that he can do it, and when he finally succeeds, Medivh returns to human form and, while dying, casts a spell that opens a portal directly to Stormwind. During the battle, King Lane finds the entrance to Stormwind and is pleased that the Guardians have finally helped them. He orders his forces, including Garona, to form a defensive line around the portal and release the prisoners so they can safely pass through the portal. But then Medivh dies and the portal closes, allowing the orcs to attack them behind the portal. Blackhand immediately approaches King Lane and takes the honor of killing him. However, King Lane tells them to kill Garona as it would be meaningless if they both die. By killing the king, Garona gains the respect of the orcs and is able to pave the way for peace between humans and orcs. Lotala arrives in the middle of the battle, saves King Lane's body, and helps fight the remaining orcs. After losing his consciousness, he awoke in the midst of the Mukalla tradition, which the Black Hand had organized to duel him. He takes King Lane's sword as a weapon and easily defeats Blackhand with one blow. The orcs respect him, even though Golden orders them to kill him. However, Garona convinces him that if Golden kills Lothar, he will not respect sacred tradition and no more orcs will follow him. Loder notices Garona's blade stuck in the king's neck and, believing her to be her traitor, flees with the king's body. During Lane's funeral, all races of Azeroth finally united and declared an alliance against the orcs. They support Loder as the leader of the alliance. Meanwhile, Gol is discovered by people in the river. And the movie ends here. Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed this film recap and want more, subscribe now, like, and share captivating stories with your friends. Tell me which movie you'd like me to summarize next. See you soon.